What's going on, everyone? Brian here, and a couple of you guys sent me this video entitled "Time to Go Back to New World." This is from Josh Strife Says, his clip channel. And in fact, this video is actually really short, so I don't know what kind of reaction you're going to get out of me in this case, but we're going to see. Josh Strife has been very critical of New World overall. If I was going to put a guess into what we're about to experience, his answer is not going to be positive on the game, which I would love to see. What would actually then make it positive? Like, what is that gap? That's something I haven't seen from him yet. And maybe he's provided that in a video. I just haven't seen it yet, but I'm always going to do what I do. I'm going to pre-like his video. You should always like and subscribe and do all that great stuff, especially in terms of this. Hopefully you guys enjoy my reaction and or discussion. We'll see how it plays out in the long run. So yeah, let's go ahead and see what's going to happen and see, is it now time to return to New World?
And simply answers memory.
Nice.
However, many of the modern advancements people blame...
I heard that New World's getting a lot of big updates. I'm actually thinking it might be time to come back to New World, guys.
I think you should.
It's not. That's... no. If you want to go back to New World, yeah, that's fine. That's your own choice. But in general, not really. I honestly don't think it's... I mean, it's not a bad game anymore. Okay. It's definitely solid, but it's not... It hasn't managed to break into the top 5, has it? It has.
What the actual fuck? Like, okay, sorry for the expression here, but if MMORPGs are only supposed to be about the top 5 to be worthy of your time, that in and of itself is so incredibly flawed. And no disrespect to Josh, but what the actual fuck, dude? Like, are you seriously making that argument? You literally just said, if you want to, like, no, it's not. Like, obviously it seemed like it went from meme to like actually thinking about it critically and saying, oh yeah, the game's definitely gotten better. It's not bad. Obviously we'll continue to say that. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Nobody in their right mind is making that argument. If somebody's making that argument, let me know. I'd love to talk to them. But then legitimately, like, saying that it's not worth your time unless it's in the top 5 MMORPGs. I'm gonna let him finish because maybe there's something more here.
Hasn't managed to become one of the top. It's not going to be as memorable as EverQuest, right? But no, New World, I don't necessarily think it's worth your money. If it's on sale, potentially, but I don't think it's worth your money as it is right now.
All right, so this was obviously clip. So in the terms of the clip's context, there could be some discussion and things that are missing. Maybe we'll go explore that. Maybe we'll try to get Josh back on the podcast to kind of talk about that specifically. But if it's not in the top 5, then it's not worth your time unless it's on sale. So there's 2 categories that we got to break down right here, right now. If you've already bought in the game, there's nothing that you have to spend. It's a free game for you now. You've already committed the $40, and at $40, the game is absolutely worth it. It's absolutely worth it. You might not enjoy it. It might not be your kind of game, and that's perfectly fine. That's actually another discussion kind of, to be had outside of that. But if you were like, I love MMORPGs, I liked what New World had going for it, but I left because of X, Y, or Z, there's no upfront cost to you. So is it worth your time? Absolutely. The game is doing, I think, incredibly well. And I think as MMO players, the success of New World is a good thing for the genre and the industry, especially because New World does not actually require a subscription fee from you. So it's not necessarily, in my mind, competing to something where, like Final Fantasy XIV, where there is a subscription fee. And ultimately, unless you're crazy, having multiple subscription fees coming out for MMOs that you aren't playing. But that's part 1. Part 2 is, are you considering jumping back into the game? I think viewpoints like this that feel so absolutely ignorant and disconnected from what's happening in the game are hurting it, are actually being this self-fulfilling prophecy that is keeping the game from achieving what it absolutely needs to do. And in this case, like when Josh is talking about, like, let's just watch this again, and maybe I missed something. And like I said, it's an edited clip. We can see some kind of like lifeline here, but let's go and start
simply answers memory.
So clearly, Asmon is watching a Josh Strife reaction. Why old MMOs feel better. I have yet to see that video, and so that's something where some context that I don't have here. Maybe I'll jump into that video later, etc. Get in on that reaction train meta here on the YouTube side of it. So I'm gonna let it play out a little bit.
However, many of the modern advancements people blame...
I heard that New World's getting a lot of big updates.
That is absolutely correct. We're on the verge of more big updates, followed by more big updates, followed by they're promising even more updated roadmap to come sometime this fall. I'm hoping for an expansion, but we don't know yet. And that's the key thing New World does not have is the trust of the masses. And so in lieu of that trust, everybody's just filling it in with complete bullshit, right? Like Josh and anybody dunking on the game, and even me, we're all filling it in with what we think and what we see based off of like data and, honestly, just like experience, right? Where if I was a betting man, yeah, like to say that New World's going to struggle, that's a simple bet. That's what I said 18 months ago, because New World doesn't have nostalgia. It actually did for me because of growing up in East Texas, born in Nacogdoches. The trees, like Louisiana, like it really feels honestly like my childhood. And was born at SFA, which was the lumberjack, so like take that for what it is. But then let's marry that with it doesn't have a studio with a long history. It's not a Sony, it's not a Microsoft, it's not a Nintendo, it's not a Square, it's not a Blizzard, right? New studio, new coming on. So you don't have like a proven track record. All you have is like games that were like not good and they canceled it, which I think that's actually a plus. And so they have to work extra hard and put that level of investment in, and that's what they're doing. That's hands down what they're doing. I think it's absolutely worth the $40. If it's on sale, it's doubly worth that, right? You're getting a heck of a good deal. And I know, and I feel like this is true, not just from me, but from talking to new players and returning players whose experience has been just so absolutely positive, and they're having a lot of fun. Is there work to be done? Yeah, actually, one of the videos I want to sit down and make for you guys this week is talking about how I think they can fix kind of the war and invasion and the territory control piece, because it's just not, I think, working out in terms of especially server balance and hopping. And so one of the things that we got to absolutely get to, just because when you look at it, as much as people romanticize older MMOs for the community and everything they built in, today's gamer really is about playing together. And so right now, that is the roadmap that it looks like that we're going in that direction, with cross server coming in the future. Looks like we're going to get cross server for dungeons. And then if we have those kind of aspects, having this isolated single server kind of aspect approach is perfectly fine if they want to kind of, have that as one of the core games. But when you look at wars, scheduling, and invasions, like, I'm not gonna live my life because there's a war schedule. There are people who enjoy that, and I think there's a fix there, and that's what I want to explore with you guys as a discussion topic in a future video. So subscribe if you haven't already, and welcome to the New World Ginger World Gaming channel. But yeah, I hope Asmon follows this game. He actually loves this game. I think there's a lot to love about New World. Clearly, I'm biased, and clearly, I'm defensive of it, and I just don't get what happens here next.
Actually thinking it might be time to come back to New World, guys.
Memeing right
It's
here.
not.
Memeing.
That's
Completely ignorant. Completely fucking
If you want to go
ignorant
back
right
to
here.
New World,
Yeah.
yeah,
If you want to.
that's fine.
Great.
That's your own choice.
Everybody's choice in gaming.
But in general, not really.
Why not?
I honestly don't think it's. I mean, it's not a bad game anymore.
Okay.
It's definitely solid, but it's not. It hasn't managed to break into the top 5, has it?
If
It
only
hasn't
you care
managed to
about
become
games that are
one of the top-
popular,
It's not
that's
as,
oh god, mother, if that's all you care about, like, why are you playing MMORPGs? If it's just going to all be about 15 and 20-year-old games. If it's only about being in the top 5. I mean, is that content creator bias? Like, what is it? Like, what gets that roadmap? That's what I want to see. That's what I like out of this video that is clearly frustrating me. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to know. What closes that gap? That's the thing that any doomer can't seem to answer. at least from what I've seen. I haven't even seen, like, you might, as someone who's watching this video, might have a clear, like, I've stated, here are the 3 things that I want, and maybe I just haven't seen that. So, you know, if that's the case, you can always sound off below. I think that's room to work. But if all this is about is being in the top 5 MMOs, which honestly, like, I don't think MMOs are as popular as people think they are. It's not hard to get into the top 5. What happens when it does? So here's a really good litmus test. This is going to be something really good, kind of as a line in the sand, a moment. If New World gets back into the top 5, what's the objective there? Or is it so much so that you've built a career off of being negative on this one specific game that it becomes a harder roadmap to kind of pivot on? I think a lot of people who have been enjoying the game overall, or coming back to the game overall, who are returning to the game or starting the game, and their positive experience, obviously see that there's still plenty of work to be done. You know, like, that is in and of itself one of the most interesting things. But beyond that work that needs to be done, the negativity that essentially continues to keep people away is in a way acting as a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so that if, let's say, here in a couple years they shut down New World because everybody's just afraid to play New World, that death spiral sequence that just never seems to end until it does, I think the cure for the death spiral is an expansion model. I think that continues to affirm that more content's coming. You know, we are committed, but we don't know yet, and that's kind of where we're in this kind of, like, you know, holding zone until the news comes, until the information comes. But it's gonna be a battle that has to be continually fought. It was always going to be a battle that was going to have to be continuously fought. I don't see how any critique that the people are leveraging against the game could not have been avoided, because even still, when even the numbers were higher, people were still, like, onto the game. And so I think essentially where that critique has to be married with is that sense of hope, with that sense of, you know, the fact that they're listening to us as players, is important to continue to provide that feedback so the game can evolve. But what then, right? What happens when those numbers start going up? I don't think it's a matter of if those numbers start going up. I think it's a matter of when those numbers start going up. And it's not going to be a fix within the next 2 weeks or the next 3 weeks or the next 6 months. It's going to be that continual fix that they have to continue to invest in. Like Final Fantasy XIV is a great example of this. 1.0 to 2.0, it was really until 5.0, it was really until Shadowbringers that the narrative of the struggle of 1.0 went away. And they continued to invest in it to the point where, you know, the player base and looks at Final Fantasy XIV in such a very positive way, with that trust having been developed. Is it possible? Yeah. Will they do it? We don't know. And we won't know until they do it, or they don't. And that's where I just get frustrated, that it's that at $40, you know, in my case, like, having, you know, gotten almost 400 hours in live, almost like over 100 hours on the PTR, like, that's 500 hours at $40. I don't know a better entertainment investment that exists today than that. Without a subscription, without asking you for any additional money, just looking for your feedback. In a world that feels like an old school MMO that married a new school MMO so that you can play it solo or you can play it with friends. And yeah, like, there's things that I'm looking forward to in the future, and it seems like those things are coming. So I'll clearly biased, but I completely disagree with Josh here in this case. I hope that he, you know, continues to grow and have success here on the platform. But clearly, if you were going to say the only reason I should play your game is because it's popular, I can't. I mean, hell, why don't we all just go play Minecraft? Like, well, why don't we all just go play? I don't know if Fortnite's still popular, but I think that's such a piss poor argument, and that's what I'm going to leave it on. Thanks, guys, for watching. This is definitely way more. I mean, way more negative than intended. Like, I'm definitely frustrated in this regards, but I'm gonna have to go check out the original video that Asmon reacted to see if there's more context. So if there's missing context in this video, clearly I like to have the full feature of it, but Anyway, guys, if you want me to react to anything else, let me know. Thanks so much for watching and your time today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. But until then, take care.
Yeah. It's time to chill out on the couch and read some comments. That's right. You know me when it comes to Destiny. I'm off with the clan, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Oh, yeah.